Hello and welcome, esteemed guests, to my channel. My name is Ainsley. Let's do stuff. Today we're back with another Create a Sim video. We're doing Sims as flowers. There are 3 Sims in the thumbnail, but there are actually a total of 5 Sims in this video. The first is Daisy Kowalski. She's of course inspired by a daisy flower. I wanted to do more than just go with a color scheme to make these Sims, so I actually took inspiration from the flower overall. For example, this Sim, I give her a very button nose to resemble that very buttoned center in a daisy. I also try to give her a sweet, innocent look because daisies are said to represent innocence. Here I am playing around with the nose to get a very bulbous button tip. I really like the way the face turns out. Actually, this is one of those rare occasions where I love every Sim that I make. I am absolutely happy with everyone. Usually there's at least one Sim or certain elements of various Sims in the group that you just don't love as much as the others, but I really am into everything that I do here. Watch it never happen again. But I really feel like I capture the likeness of these flowers with these Sims. Or as much as you can capture the likeness of a flower when you're not creating a flower. And you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you agree. Personification is tricky in that way. Different people will read different things as being more or less representative of something. With Daisy's hair, I start out with this very cool blonde. I'm going for the white in a daisy and using the yellow in the eye makeup. But later on I switched to a more yellow blonde because there was a lot of white in the outfit, and I like the way that looks even more than I like what I have now. Even though I really do like what I have now, I downloaded a bunch of custom content hair, I went a little bit crazy, and I just want to use every hairstyle I have on every Sim. It's a bit of a problem. You can see here too, I'm really loving the way the white swatches are looking on this character. It's ironic because I just talked in my last video about how unbecoming white swatches can be, but maybe because of her skin tone, the white looked really good, so I go and change some things to be more yellow so that I'm not losing the yellow from the daisy. I liked those hairs that had the highlighter yellow at the bottom, but I didn't feel like they suited her character. I think this hair that's kind of half back fits better. And I love those polka dot leggings, but I do change her skirt and you'll see that at the end. I forgot to record it. But it's a touch longer, so I feel like it suits her better. On to our next Sim, we have Sakura Yamazaki. Sakura, of course, meaning cherry blossom in Japanese, so she's based on the cherry blossom flowers. Now, I know I said I love every single Sim from this Create a Sim challenge, and I do, but I think Sakura is maybe my second favorite of the bunch. I really like the way she turns out. She's small and cute and dainty in a way I feel really suits a cherry blossom. And I don't know about anyone else, but when I was growing up, I was obsessed with the anime Cardcaptor Sakura. I of course watched the English version as a kid, but I went back and rewatched some with the subtitles when I was a bit older, and that just has such fond nostalgic memories for me that even though this Sim is in no way related to that character, I felt like she had a bit of a special place in my heart while I was making her. And while we're on the subject, the dubbed version really does not do the original any kind of justice. For starters, it is so much gayer in the original version, and I don't know about anyone else, but baby Ainsley could have definitely used seeing that version instead. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely picked up on the fact that her brother and his friend were more than just friends, but it is so much gayer than that even. If you have any interest at all in watching the subtitled version, just go for it. It is well worth your time. And I did just wax poetic about a children's anime over her entire hair selection process. My bad. I went with the shortcut. I feel like it's really becoming on her. And the lipstick from Get to Work that just colors in the center of the lips, from my understanding that suits Japanese makeup styles really well. It's meant just to make the lips look soft and dainty instead of lush and full resemble the way Western makeup does. Across the board, I was trying to have her look a little softer and daintier. That's really the impression I get from cherry blossoms, is that they're very small and delicate and cute. You may also have noticed me giving her a few freckles across the bridge of her nose, and to me that resembled the way the little pollen spots on the end of the stamen look. And then I also realized that the eye makeup I gave her a lid, and I didn't want that, so I went back and changed it out for one that didn't. And now my magnum opus, Iris Michaels. Oh my god, I love her so much. She kind of radiates this sapphic energy and I'm super into it. I was really struggling with her outfit and I end up going and unlocking the masculine clothing and it just changes the game. I almost need to do an entire video that's just dressing female Sims in the quote-unquote masculine clothes because they look so good. Here I'm playing around with the nose. I like the way that on Iris flowers that yellow center looks kind of hooked, and I wanted to replicate that in the shape of the nose. I also just really like hooked noses, so this wasn't much of a hardship for me. Plus, I feel like a really strong nose stands up well to the bold hair color I put on her later. I'm from a family where both of my parents have very, how shall we put it, prominent noses, so for me a larger nose is one of the nicest traits you can give a sim. I think it's really fun to examine sometimes the preferences you have for certain face shapes or body types and to see if you can isolate where that came from. I find that most of the time it's just by way of absorbing what's around you, which is why it really is so important for you to expose yourself to new people and new places and new things. Everything that you encounter and that you spend time with opens your mind. I know I'm turning this into social commentary again, but that's kind of just what I do. The more videos I film, the more I'm refining my voice, and this is sort of what I'm settling into. Let me know in the comments below if it's something that you like. I really like it, hopefully you do as well. And let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to talk about. I'm always up for a good discussion. As much as I like those shiny purple pants, I put her in those track pants instead. They suited the look that I had in mind for her better. I could probably do a whole video that's just me designing Sims to wear clothing that I have that I don't know when to use. There's a latex dress that I downloaded just sitting there waiting for its time to shine. This was the point that I switched over to the masculine clothing. I was really liking the jackets that I was putting on her, but none of the cuts or styles were really suiting her. So I put her in this men's jean jacket that comes with Get to Work. While I prefer Alpha CC hair, I really do like the clothing that comes with the game for the most part, so when the occasion calls for it, that's what I use. Our next sim is Wisteria Williams. The second I saw pictures of wisteria flowers, I had in my mind the image of what she would look like. The hanging flowers from the trees reminded me instantly of braided textured hair, so I decided to go with a very dark-skinned sim who had these very pale purple braids. And that contrast between the dark skin and the light hair looks so awesome. Aside from Iris, the rest of the sims in this Create a Sim group do have hair colors that are very close to their skin tones, and that looks really nice too, but it was nice between Iris and Wisteria to have those sims who had that contrast. I like having that variety when you're making groups of sims. If anybody has suggestions for my next group, let me know in the comments below. I have a few things outlined in a Google Doc, but I'm sure I'll burn through them quickly enough, putting out 2 videos a week. So anything that you want to see, let me know. I also do speed builds if your ideas are more house-based than sim-based. I'm open to those suggestions as well. I'm toying with her profile here, trying to create something that's maybe a bit different than some of the previous profiles I've done. I don't always do a very pronounced brow ridge and a more recessed jaw, so that's what I tried this time around. I love this skin detail I give her with the visible front teeth, but it ends up clashing with the lipstick color I want to give her later on, so I do have to get rid of it, unfortunately, but I love how cutesy this looks. I also love how bright and vivid the eyeshadow is. These braids that I try on by the creator Ebonics, I really like them. It's too bad they were so vivid when Wisteria is more pale, because I really liked the height they had, but these pale lilac braids by Nightcrawler end up doing the job just as well. I tried out some hats in case those added anything to the look, but I wasn't feeling them. I also tried out this hairstyle. I realized that all of the black Sims that I had done up to this point had natural hairstyles, and I didn't want to represent that as the only style, but I switched back to the braids because they were the genesis of this whole idea. So the next time I make a black Sim, I'll do someone who has either chemically relaxed hair or a weave to be more representative. I definitely don't want all of my Sims to be the same every time, because that can't be fun to watch, but it's also not fun to do. Our last Sim is Marigold Atwater. I kept picturing her as this very prim, proper British woman. Even the baby name site that I used to decide the names for my Sims said that the name Marigold would likely only be found in the most posh of British cradles. As a result, I end up with a Sim that looks a lot different than any of the Sims I've ever made before, and I really like her. If Iris is my go-to guilty pleasure, then this is almost the exact opposite of what I usually do. Her mouth is very thin but very wide. I sort of droop her eyes, and I actually put creases in her forehead using that skin detail that comes with the game. All of that put together just gives her so much character. She has such a clear sense of personality, even just from her face. I love when you design a Sim or a house that just speaks so clearly to what it is. Visual mediums are so impressive in that way. They just communicate exactly what it is you need to know in a language that's universal. There are certain cultural lenses that might change the way something is interpreted, but for the most part it's pretty consistent, and I find that so cool. Kind of like how everybody smiles. Even people who are born blind, there's something innate. And this Sim is definitely not smiling. She has a bit of RBF. It's a term I have my qualms with. It's definitely rooted in sexism, but it applies here well enough. I actually noticed halfway through making this Sim that she looks a lot like the actress Jenna Dewan, Channing Tatum's ex-wife, estranged wife. I'm not sure if that divorce is finalized. I think it's the mouth shape. If you see the similarity, let me know in the comments below. She was Lucy Lane on Supergirl, if that helps anybody make the connection. I like that her final outfit looks very polished, but there's just enough thigh to be a bit naughty. And now, as far as traits go, I gave them each unique traits, but there's enough overlap in there that you could see them being friends. So this is Daisy's final look. You can see the skirt that I changed out. She's cheerful, good, loves the outdoors, and has the gardening aspiration. I didn't want to make them all gardeners. That felt too on the nose, but it felt like it suited her. Sakura also loves the outdoors. She's family-oriented and romantic and has the soulmate aspiration. I think she and Daisy would be the best friends of the whole group. Iris has the bodybuilder aspiration. She's also a genius, athletic, and self-assured. I get the vibe from her that she's the mom friend of the group. She's too cool to have her own drama, but she'll help you deal with yours. Because Wisteria represents love, sensuality, and expanded consciousness, I made her a Renaissance Sim who's romantic, a dance machine, and creative. She probably gets along best with Sakura of all the girls. And last, there's Marigold, who I made jealous, self-assured, and ambitious. She probably gets along best with Iris, who's very self-assured, and her aspiration is to be fabulously wealthy. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you liked it, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd also really appreciate a comment letting me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd like to see next from this channel. Also consider sharing this video around with your friends. It really helps me out. The music for this video again was done by Chucky, so I'll link his SoundCloud below. Definitely go check him out, he's great. And I guess all that's left to say is until next time, get out there and do stuff.